I'm just steps away from achieving my dream of 1,000 subscribers. Your support means the world to me." The purifying demonic lotus flame once again treated Xiaoyan's group like nothing more than puppets to toy with. When would these endless trials finally come to an end? Continuation of the previous episode, facing tens of thousands of blazing human-shaped figures, flame men. Xiaoyan's group charged forward with overwhelming force. Together they unleashed palm strikes that violently blasted against the massive stone gate. Under the combined onslaught of so many experts, the giant gate exploded into pieces. At the exact moment it shattered, countless flame slaves halted their pursuit and froze densely in mid-air. Let's move. According to the accounts left by our clan's ancestors, deep within this demonic lotus flame hall lies the place where the true body of the purifying demonic lotus flame resides, Gunanhai shouted loudly. Hearing this, Xiaoyan nodded. Let's go. Inside the vast hall, milky white flames filled their vision entirely. On the plaza stood countless flame men, lined up in perfect formation. They remained completely silent, yet emanated an utterly terrifying aura. At this moment, Xiaoyan's group stood at one side of the hall, frowning deeply at the scene. This was not the first time they had witnessed such a sight. Ever since stepping through the colossal stone gate, they had already passed through 3 halls that looked nearly identical. The only difference was that the deeper they went, the stronger the flame slaves became. For example, the ones before them now, based on Xiaoyan's perception, each and every one possessed the strength of a dozun. For Xiaoyan's group, a single dozun was nothing to fear, but when their numbers reached the tens of thousands, even a dosheng would be forced to treat them seriously. Especially since the coordination between these flame slaves was nearly flawless, their combined attacks would be terrifying beyond measure. Elder Gu, at this rate, when will this ever end? Xiaoyan asked with a slight frown. There is no other way. This entire purifying lotus flame space was constructed by the purifying demonic lotus flame over thousands of years. Naturally, it is unimaginably dangerous. Otherwise, it wouldn't have remained undefeated and unclaimed for thousands of years. Gunanhai shook his head helplessly. Hearing this, Xiaoyan's brows tightened even more. He continued, "Have your clan's ancestors come here before? Did they also face these same trials?" "That's right. And tell me, was the purifying demonic lotus flame stronger 1,000 years ago? Or is it stronger now? Though it wasn't captured back then, it was severely injured. After 1,000 years, it has surely recovered completely. Judging by the dream-ensnaring heavenly mist, the purifying demonic lotus flame we're facing now is likely even stronger than it was in ancient times." Gunanhai replied with some hesitation. Hearing this, Xiaoyan lifted his head and gazed at the towering ceiling of the enormous hall, his eyes flickering. "It seems the purifying demonic lotus flame is merely toying with us. Let's keep moving." After a moment of contemplation, Xiaoyan flicked his sleeve, his voice returning to calm. What followed was a repetitive cycle of trial after trial. Worse yet, the structure of each trial was frustratingly monotone. The flame slaves in each hall were nearly identical, only their strength increased with every level. By the end, even Huoyun Ancestor had sustained injuries. The others were faring slightly better, but their expressions grew increasingly grim. These continuous battles were no different from fighting multiple dosheng, powerhouses in succession, an immense drain on their strength. Bang! The massive gate shattered under Xiaoyan's palm strike, rubble scattering everywhere as yet another grand hall appeared before them. Upon seeing this hall, a wave of exhaustion washed through everyone's hearts. How much longer would these seemingly endless trials continue? Xiaoyan's eyes swept across the hall, and he suddenly let out a surprised "ah," because unlike the previous halls, there wasn't a single flame slave in sight. Has the trial finally ended? Zhana also noticed the unusual scene and spoke with surprise. No, not yet. Gunanhai slowly shook his head, his gaze locking onto a thin, skeletal figure standing at the center of the great hall. The man stood perfectly upright, and from within his body surged an overwhelmingly powerful aura. 4-star Dosheng. Both Gunanhai and Ziyan trembled slightly, their expressions growing solemn. Although they themselves were also 4-star Daoshengs, the aura emanating from the gaunt figure seemed even stronger than their own. "This counts as a flame slave too?" Xiaoyan asked in disbelief. "Barely, but unlike the other flame slaves completely controlled by the purifying demonic lotus flame, this one possesses his own consciousness. His autonomy is much greater." Gunanhai spoke in a deep voice. "It seems this is the final trial. If we can overcome him, we will reach the place where the purifying demonic lotus flame's true body resides." "That won't be easy," Xiaoyan frowned. "We've already come this far, there's no turning back." Ziyan shrugged, then lazily glanced at Gunanhai. The two of us will handle this. Let's end it quickly. I'm getting sick of this place. Gu Nanhai nodded. Stay alert to movements around us, Xiaoyan said with a wave of his hand. Everyone immediately stepped into the great hall and quickly spread out. Surrounding the gaunt figure, Ziyan and Gu Nanhai stood directly before him. The moment they entered, the man slowly opened his eyes. His gaze locked solely onto the two standing before him. Neither side spoke a word, yet the oppressive tension in the air grew heavier and heavier. The silent hall suddenly trembled violently. The gaunt figure clenched his fist in midair, and a massive blood-red battle-axe materialized from the void. The enormous weapon contrasted sharply with his skinny frame, creating an almost absurd sight. As the blood-colored great axe appeared, neither side wasted time on words. Boom! Three figures collided with explosive force. The shockwaves that erupted instantly forced Xiaoyan's group to hurriedly retreat. Facing the combined assault of Ziyan and Gu Nanhai, the gaunt axe-wielder did not retreat in the slightest. The massive weapon danced wildly in his hands like a raging storm. As the battle dragged on, he was gradually pushed into a disadvantage, but his occasional counterattacks still forced Ziyan and Gu Nanhai into difficult positions. It was clear that if either of them were to face him alone, they would not be his match. Bang! The trio clashed fiercely at the center of the hall. The blood-axe wielder was forced back repeatedly. Yet as he staggered, a crazed, fanatical gleam surged within his eyes. A brilliant ray shot out from the spot between his brows. Within that radiance, a strange rune slowly appeared. As the rune emerged, his aura erupted violently. Xiaoyan's gaze instantly locked onto the strange symbol, and his expression froze as if struck by lightning. That's the Xiao clan mark. The rune on the man's forehead was unmistakably the exclusive clan mark of the Xiao clan. Juna and the others also noticed it. Shocked gazes simultaneously shifted toward Xiaoyan. They had all seen him use the clan mark before and recognized it instantly. Could he be a senior from the Xiao clan? Before they could speculate further, the gaunt man roared and swung his axe fiercely. A terrifying force tore open the very air itself as it hacked down upon the energy barrier shielding Ziyan and Gu Nanhai. The barrier shattered instantly. The two were blasted backward like ragdolls. Yet the gaunt man did not pause. His figure flashed, appearing right above them. The massive blood-colored axe descended violently. Just as the axe was about to strike, a sharp gleam flashed in Xiaoyan's eyes. He clenched his teeth, his figure flickering as he darted forward, placing himself between the two and the descending axe. At the same moment, the Xiao clan mark on his own forehead flared to life.